Welcome to season 2!
We're so excited to be back, and we've got so many great things to talk
We're
about.
really excited. We're starting with Peter Pan.
The story of Peter Pan. And we're drinking Fortnum & Mason's very British Earl Grey, very grown-up tea.
Mm-hmm. Here's our thesis. Peter Pan is not the story of Peter Pan. Let's break it down for you.
So it's very clear from the plot and from the structure that Wendy serves as the protagonist of the story.
We start with Wendy. She has a scary thing coming up. Her father says she has to leave the nursery. She has to go to a real adult big girl bedroom. She's scared. The night before her last night,
Peter comes to the house, and she's the only one that sees him.
She sees his shadow.
He leaves his shadow behind, and she puts it in a drawer for safekeeping.
Mm-hmm. Her last night in the nursery, he comes back, and she has the opportunity to go away to Neverland, where you never have to make adult decisions, and she takes it.
And her brothers come with.
Mm-hmm.
Her brothers sort of serve only as, like, side notes to the story, although they serve a very important function, which is that they provide a contrasting experience of Neverland to Wendy's experience of Neverland. The thing about not growing up is that you have to have someone take care of you.
Kids can't take care of themselves.
So Wendy automatically becomes the caretaker. Skills that she has, like sewing, she uses to make them pockets, and she ends up being their mother.
They call her mother.
Which is part of how she realizes throughout the course of the story that she really does have
She's more grown up than them.
what it takes to grow up and move out of the nursery.
She's moving out of childhood. It's a coming of age story for Wendy. She literally has to confront that she is no longer completely a child. She's moving into this, I'm gonna go there. She's not a girl. Not yet a woman.
And that is the story of Peter Pan, and that's the point of it. I mean, the pirates kidnap Wendy because Wendy is the protagonist, and Wendy needs the inciting incident.
And, like, the pirates, they're not realistic. They're very silly. They're play ideas of what it is to be a pirate. The conflicts with the pirates and Peter, they're never resolved because that's how children play. If you kill your villain, who are you gonna attack tomorrow, you know?
All of the conflicts in Neverland really reflect the play conflicts of the nursery, the games they play, right? So on that note, we're going to talk a little bit
You can't talk about Peter Pan without talking about the way Native Americans are portrayed in Peter Pan.
And we decided we're not going to call them Native Americans because
they're not.
They're not Native Americans.
They're such caricatured, like, bullshit images.
A Victorian British child's idea of what they've of what they've learned about, like, the cowboy and Indian stories that they've read. Wendy has had zero contact with any kind of Native American person or culture, and so she makes it up in her head how they are, and that's how they are in Neverland, because that's how everything is in Neverland. It's how Wendy imagines it.
That's still problematic. Like, there is a real live adult who wrote these stories who, like, could have looked into this and didn't. I mean, there are ways you could do an adaptation of Peter Pan where Wendy actually does have a knowledge of real Native Americans that would give you some real representation.
In some ways, Wendy was quote-unquote wrong about a lot of things in Neverland, right? She gets there and the mermaids hate her instead of embracing her, which she wanted. She could get there and have Tiger Lily say, "Excuse you, this is not how we are."
Other issues like Tinkerbell, the mermaids, Tiger Lily, all of these are really antagonistic forces for Wendy, and I think this absolutely does come out of J.M. Barrie's authorship.
Yeah, he's a guy writing a story about a girl, which is not impossible, right? But you do have to do a little bit of, like, extra personal thinking about it.
And it does come from a specific place and time.
Yeah, the idea that all the female presences that Wendy could imagine would all be antagonistic towards her,
specifically in competition for Peter's affections,
is a trope that men invented.
The Lost Boys aren't jealous of her. They're not like, step off my man. Like, Tinkerbell is the one who's like, you have to get away from him, we're together.
It's a problem from a metatextual perspective, but in the text, it's Wendy's imagination, it's Wendy's creation, and the whole thing comes back to her.
She's the one who has character growth. She's the one who, at the end of the story, realizes she doesn't quite fit this childhood world. It's gonna be okay when she goes to her own bedroom.
And she goes home, and she is sort of able to overcome the villain that is Captain Hook, which is her dad, by recognizing that he has a point, which is a little bit of a problem in and of itself, because the lesson she's learning is to, like, obey Dad.
And it's not a, like, find her true place. It is a little bit of a, like, find your place.
But the lesson that is valuable to take from Peter Pan is that children do grow up, and they do get more responsibilities, and they do leave the nursery, and it's okay to do that. Yeah. But we only learn that lesson through Wendy. We don't learn that through Peter Pan, because Peter Pan doesn't leave Neverland.
He's not really a character. He's an idea.
Someday, someone is going to adapt Peter Pan and do it right, and they will have my love forever.
So we wanted to reelect Supply with an army female characters.
We thought that Tiger Lily definitely
army
needs
an
army.
Every day.
She's in constant threat for kidnapping. That's a game that happens every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure she's sick of it. Give her an army of, like...
Take over Neverland.
Yes.
Tiger Lily should just take that shit over.
She could rule it. I'd watch the adventures of warrior princess Tiger Lily all day long.
I feel like I really only want to read Tinkerbell. She has a lot of feelings, like too many feelings to be given any of the other powers for me.
Yeah, and she doesn't really speak. She sort of just rings.
She has a lot to get out.
So, she very clearly has something to say, and we think she should get to say it.
Yeah. Which
means that we're electing the newly grown-up President Wendy. I think she's ready.
I think she's ready.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Cheers.